That's him, William Stiles, standing behind his big sister and little brother. Stiles was actually his middle name, but that's what all the old folks called him when I was a kid. I never met him. He was born in 1895 and died a decade before I was born. When he came of age, living in New Orleans with no real prospects, he did what many young men had done before and have done since. He joined the Navy in about 1913. He patrolled the Gulf of Mexico. He saw the East Coast. He saw the West Coast in time for the Panama-Pacific Exhibition. He was on the first naval vessel through the Panama Canal. At this point, I would love to include a couple of pictures, but I don't have them. There's a panoramic photo given as a souvenir to the sailors on the first ship that went through the Panama Canal. It shows the ship in the background, the officers and all the seamen, and has their names across the bottom. I think my brother or maybe my father has that still. There's another wonderful picture of Stiles, sort of dressed as a pirate in ragged clothes with a great knife in his teeth, some part of a silly little ceremony for crossing the equator. So, being a sailor in the Navy before World War I was not so bad. I would like to include those photos, but the video isn't really about Stiles. It's about the postcard album that he assembled, and most of this was done during World War I. He was serving on the U.S.S. Wheeling off the Straits of Gibraltar, looking for submarines, and that was a real hit-and-miss operation, mostly miss. This was before sonar, so basically they would drop a light into the water and look over the side and see if they could see the submarine. And if they could, then they'd drop some depth charges and see if they could do something about it. Was not an especially effective technique, but that's what he was doing. He had ports of call apparently in Ireland, in Liverpool, and he spent a lot of time in London and collected postcards from the places that he went. And they comprise most of the postcard album. There are well over 100 pictures of the touristy kind of places in London. And I suspect that many of these were probably in print for a long time. They may have been in print for many years afterwards. They may be in print today. I don't know. But there's some interesting ones, and we'll take a look at those, as well as pictures he collected on the East Coast and on the West Coast of the USA. And they comprise this postcard album, which must date to about 1917 to 1920. Some parts are earlier. He has pictures of the stadium at the Panama-Pacific Exhibition, which would have been, I believe 1914, 1915. And some pictures. There's one from London that I kind of wonder why he got that. There's a picture of the Great Wheel at Earl's Court, which, if I understand correctly, would have been demolished before he was ever there. So I don't think he saw that. if my dates are accurate, but my dates might not be accurate. There's a lot of guesswork in assembling these narratives when you just have these documents. Now, and I should say that almost every one of these postcards has not been sent through the mail. They were collected and kept and put into the album. Only a few of them were, and only on those is there a postmark from which I can figure out when they were sent and, what the dates were. As well as those are the ones that let me know what ships he was serving on the Wheeling and the Ward, a couple of others. And so let's take a look at the album.